She is a force of nature. Sistah soldier. Woo!
40 days after having surgery and being on medical leave, I found myself sitting in the orderly room at the desk of Walter Reed's Army Medical Center orderly room. Sergeant Williams periodically asked me questions about my status, my supervisor's name, my job status in my unit. After being quiet for a while, she then hands me this piece of paper saying I was now reassigned to the Wounded Warrior Battalion. I was angry, I was diffused, confused, distressed, and wondering, started defending myself as an NCO. This could not be happening to me. I thought I was here to get a permanent profile. She looked at me and she said, "Do you need help getting any of your belongings?" By now, I was frustrated and I was angry. All of this because of a freak accident of walking in a hardware store where a lady was walking with 2x4s and she allowed them to slip out of her hand, and bam! They hit me in the back of my head. As I was bending down to reach them on the floor, I looked up and all I saw was her looking as if she was a deer in a headlight with headlights staring in her eyes. The store assistant and my good friend came running over, and I grabbed the back of my head and I didn't see any blood. And so I thought I was okay. Boom! Hit the floor. I looked up and she says, "I better get out of here before somebody else get hurt." Never saw her again. Days later, I had to go to my orderly room, my unit, to turn in my orders. It turns out they had a plan for me just as I had a plan for them. In fact, it wasn't favorable for me. And that's when I found the power of the stroke of a doctor's pen that was much more powerful than the Defense Intelligence Agency. They didn't know what to do. A few days later from that, I found myself in the formation with other warriors who had worse injuries than me. I felt like a fraud. They were suffering from brain injury, amputations, and sicknesses from Iraq and Afghanistan. I didn't deserve to be there. How could I call myself a wounded warrior? My injury did not compare. I was on the bus and I happened to see Specialist Barnes' mom, who she began to tell me that she quit her job because her son needed her care. She had been there for a year. And then there was Amy, the spouse's wife, who her husband was paralyzed and she didn't have any type of employment training. She tells me, "I'm torn between caring for my husband and getting a job that's going to pay me minimum wage." So I began to research and I gave her some information that could help her to get training and education so that she could become employable and earn a living wage. And lastly, I cannot forget the NCO friend of mine who was active for 24 years. And she said that she was fine and she was well just so that she could retire for her benefits. You see, every day I danced with fear because I didn't know how my career was going to turn out. Until one day I was in a resume class and I happened to discover that my recruiting skills would give me the ability, using my intuition and my creativeness would give me the ability to make an opportunity for everyone that was not able to work a 9 to 5 job. It was at that moment that I realized that I wasn't at Walter Reed because I had an injury. I was there because I could bring a resolution. I was there because She That Inspires needed to be birthed. I was there to give hope. I was there to bring faith.